Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Cocktails with Conductors. I am Peter Wilson, Music Director of the Richmond Philharmonic, and I'm here with my co-host, Will Pattie, the Assistant Conductor of the RPO. Hi, Will.
Hey, how's it going, Peter? Great to see you. Great to see everyone. Wonderful to be back for episode 2. Really excited.
Indeed, and we are unmuted, which is great because we were
That's right.
a little bit weird last time about that, but this is all good.
Thank you.
So we are so excited this evening because we have our very first special guest, the wonderful musician and conductor, Erin Freeman. I'm going to invite her to join us here in a minute to make her favorite cocktail. But first, I wanted to go through a few of her titled positions. Erin is the artistic director of Wintergreen Music, the director of Richmond Symphony Chorus. She's also the director of Choral Activities at Virginia Commonwealth University. A little shout out to her students, I think, who are tuning in. She's also the resident conductor of the Richmond Ballet. And of course, most important to us, she is the former music director of the Richmond Philharmonic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Erin Freeman.
Woohoo! Hello.
Go. It's so great to have you.
Oh, it's so nice to be here.
So tell us, let's just kick things off right away with the cocktails portion here of the Conductors
Sure.
thing, and let us know what you're going to make today.
Okay, well, first of all, I have to admit that when you first asked me to make my favorite cocktail, I was like, I'll just pop open a beer and pour it in a
That's right.
glass. But I thought I should do something a little fancier just because Will's here and I hear he's a big cocktail expert.
Please.
But yeah. But I am no expert. This is very simple. It's just my martini. So it's and I'll do a martini any way you make it. So, shaken, stirred with a lemon zest, lime. I don't really care as long as it goes in my face. Okay. So here I have
the Erin Freeman in your face martini.
Yes, this is the, gin, vodka. It does not matter. Martini. I have vodka today.
You can't tell our president that he's a big gin guy when it comes to martinis. He doesn't think there's any other way to do it. But I
have vodka today because that's what's in this shot glass here, and it's Grey Goose. So I have this cute little shaker that was given to me actually by a former member of the Richmond Philharmonic. And it's got some ice in it. And I've got my shot of vodka here, pouring it in. Got a little bit of dry vermouth.
Hey, team, there's no audio right now, and I'm trying to figure it out. I apologize. No one can hear us.
I'm gonna
undo
that. Pause for a moment.
Do we need to start over completely, Jen, do you think?
Yeah, we will, but give me just a minute.
All right, so we'll send Erin away and start over. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's have you go back on audio, on video off.
Okay, I'm going on video off.
And then Will and I will mute again. Okay, Jen? No worries.
Okay, I'm going on video off.
And then
okay, hold on just 1 second. Okay, now they can hear you, I think, or they could a minute ago. Okay, go ahead, start over, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me. We want to make sure we're good to go. Yes? Are we good? Okay. Welcome to episode 2 of Cocktails with Conductors. I am Peter Wilson, music director of the Richmond Philharmonic, and I'm here with my co-host and great friend, Will Pattie, the assistant conductor of the RPO. Hello, Will.
Hello, Peter. Thank you again. I'm so excited to be back for episode 2. Thanks again. I'm super excited for tonight's conversation.
Me as well. Okay, so we are very excited this evening because we have our very first special guest, the wonderful musician and conductor, Erin Freeman. Now I'm going to invite her to come on with us in just a minute to showcase her favorite cocktail, but I just wanted to go through a few of her titled positions. Erin is the artistic director of Wintergreen Music. She's also the director of the Richmond Symphony Chorus. She's the director of Choral Activities at Virginia Commonwealth University. So big shout out to her students. I think they're tuning in tonight. She's also the resident conductor of the Richmond Ballet. So we've got just so many different kinds of ensembles here, which is fantastic. But most important to us, of course, she is one of the former music directors of our great ensemble, the Richmond Philharmonic. So please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Erin Freeman. Woohoo! We should have had canned applause.
Oh, that
Right,
would have
that would've
been
been great.
great, like they do on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Yeah,
Oh, right.
I know. But anyway, I'm glad to be here.
Hey, Erin, good to see you.
Hi. Nice to see you too.
So we had a little technical difficulty getting started. We
Uh-huh.
hope everybody's, but this is great because this is the sort of, ice-breaking moment, the first 10, 15 minutes when we deal with the cocktail portion, get everybody
Excellent.
motivated, and then we can get into all of the music and everything. So please tell us what great cocktail you're going to be showing us how to make this evening. I think I've got all my stuff.
Yeah, I will be honest that when you said cocktails, really I thought I could just, pour some wine in a glass and drink it, but I brought a cocktail to Cocktails with Conductors as
You?
instructed. And I brought a fairly simple one, and it's simple because I don't really care how it's done. You could be gin, it could be vodka, it could be with lemon zest, peel, it could be with olives. I don't really care, as I say, as long as it gets in my face. So I've got my cocktail kit over here, and my cocktail kit is not usually in my study. It is usually downstairs. I don't keep cocktails this close to where I do my work, but I brought it up for tonight.
We
Here,
wouldn't blame you at all for that, though, with COVID and everything,
yes,
So
I've got
this is a classic martini, right?
this is
what
just
we're doing?
classic vodka martini. Now, I know a lot of people for classic martini is really gin, but so if you're having vodka in your martini, you need to clarify that it is a vodka martini,
Got it.
because a classic martini is actually gin. I have vodka tonight. So I have vodka. I have a little bit of dry vermouth. I have some olives. These are stuffed with garlic. Because if I'm social distancing anyway, might as well put some garlic in my olives. I've got a little olive juice in here to make it dirty. I've got my glass. I've got extra toothpicks because I like my colored festive toothpicks. And then I've got my shaker given to me by a former member of the Richmond Philharmonic. It's my individual shaker. So, all I do is I just open it up. There's already ice in here. And I
Okay,
pour
so
my vodka.
because we want to make these with you.
Oh,
so
okay.
Are you able to
I'm
do
just trying to
like,
get it in my face. But yeah, I put the ice in the shaker.
put the ice in the shaker first? Okay, and then I just need
Got
if
it.
you can help us out with like.
Oh God. Oh, Peter. Yeah. And then like a shot of vodka, some amount of vodka that seems good. I just pour it in there.
Yeah, that seems like there is some ratio considerations, but a shot of vodka also just works. Go for
Yeah,
it. Keep
yeah.
going.
And then
Well-
I've got some dry vermouth.
Okay,
That's
Will, you're the
less than half a
mixologist here. How much
shot.
of this should we put in here?
I
Oh,
just like
well,
a splash.
A splash that works for
A
a shot of a splash works.
With
A
this
splash.
shot, the top of this 1 ouncer here.
No. You got to turn that thing upside down.
Oh, we need more than
That's
that.
the bigger one.
Yeah, for your vodka. Yeah. Not for, are you doing your vodka now or your
Yes,
gin?
for my gin.
You got to use the bigger one for that. That smaller one is not enough.
Okay, so
No,
this
it's
is
At
2
least
ounces.
not for the day I had.
This is
Do it.
so this is 2 ounces. So I should put
Yeah.
2 ounces. Okay. All right, here we go.
Yeah. And again, you're doing gin, which is the proper way to do it, but vodka is delicious as well.
My president of the RPO told me to do this. I just want to keep my job. That's all.
I love gin. I love gin martinis. Honestly, yeah. And then I have some vermouth in here, and I did a little bit, a
Right.
splash.
Yeah.
So you just sort of have to see. You could do up to a half a shot, but a half a small shot. But some people don't like it at all. So you just,
Yeah.
I would, if you're making your first martini, just do a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
put it of
And then
vermouth.
see what you can tolerate.
Okay.
Great.
And just put it in the same, yeah, not that much. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Okay. That just went in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then,
gonna go ahead and for
Oh,
all the
yeah, you
folks at
got your
home
beef
where I'm
eater.
going tonight.
all
Okay.
right. Yeah, I
then
did
I'm
Grey
stirring.
Goose.
Am I stirring?
Not yet, because I'm putting some olive juice in mine to make it dirty.
Oh, dirty.
So I've just put some olive juice.
I just
And
have
then
all-
you can either stir it or shake it. At home, I like to shake it because it's fun. So I just put the top on, make sure your other top is on too. And then you shake. And you shake. My ice has been sitting around a little bit as we were doing tech check. So
Yes.
there's going to look like there's a lot more vodka in here than there is because it melted and it made it a little watery. But it doesn't matter why, as long as it gets in my face.
Right.
So
Again.
shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. I mean, what you want is you want the ice to make the vodka or gin really cold. And then that's the special part of the cocktail. I mean, it's just gin and vodka, right? It's not that big of a
Right.
deal.
Every
But
ingredient should be
it's the
super cold.
ice. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
And then
I see my good friend Igor Yusefovich has joined us and he said more vodka.
more
Just
vodka. There's a lot of vodka. Hi, Igor. Oh my gosh, your daughter's beautiful. Okay, your child is beautiful. Okay. Then you've got your glass. And if you're like Peter, you chilled it because you care. If you're like me, you didn't chill it because it's going to get in my face whether it's chilled or not. Okay.
This is
And
called
then
in your face.
you
Erin
just pour it
Martini.
in the glass. And again, that looks like a bigger martini than it is because half of my ice melted. And then you put your accoutrement inside.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I like to put
never-
the olives.
Can I just tell you, I've never eaten an olive ever in my life.
Oh, Peter, you need to get out.
What?
I know I get
But I would
How's
put
this
the
happening?
olive. I like the olives on a toothpick because then I can use it as
Yeah.
a meal as well as.
well, but I can have the meal after I drink it, right?
That's true too. I like to have mine in between. So, oh
And then look what I have. I have a fancy, I get peeled little.
yeah, see that's
you do
good.
that
Oh,
yourself?
yeah.
So do you feel like it's really hard to peel the rind of a citrus to not get all the white stuff, the bitter parts, and just get the citrus part?
You just use a light touch and
Try to light touch. It's a little bit difficult, I
Yeah.
find. You got to be a little careful with it.
again,
And mine was
You know,
kind of fat.
I don't know that I care. I mean, if I'm paying for a cocktail, I want it to be perfect, you know?
Okay.
Cheers.
Here's to episode 2. Meet Erin Freeman, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Indeed.
everybody.
Bravo.
Mm.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, it's good. Don't drink it too quickly. It'll go straight to your head. And then
And then this
episode 3 will
conversation.
never top this one.
Is it okay that I
Okay.
haven't eaten today?
That you haven't eaten today, that's what the olives are for.
Oh my.
Yeah. The olives are.
I might also, I'll go on, I forwarded a link to Jen, and I don't know if she'll be able to put it out there, but again, quoting the Difford's guide that I went to last time, an online resource for all things cocktail, they quoted the ratio of 5 to 1 booze to vermouth.
Yeah.
And the ratios can go all the way up to 7 to 1, 12 to 1, and down all the way to 50-50, which is the traditional way of doing martinis, but that's a
Yeah.
pretty vermouth intense. They also
Yeah.
suggest throwing in an orange bitters, which is what I did
bitters
tonight.
are nice. Nice.
Just a dash of orange bitters to your 5 to 1 ratio, which is what I did.
Yeah, and so
I-
for me, instead of the bitters, I used olive juice. Like you usually have
Yeah.
3 things in your cocktail. So the
Hmm.
main liquor, the other liquor, and then the special thing.
Mhm.
See, I'm no bartender. I just know those 3 things, and then put some food in your drink, and it'll help you deal with it
Right.
all. So
I'm learning too. That's why, I thought this would be fun. We keep bringing
Yeah.
people on and if I bring Victor Yampolsky on, it's probably going to be just vodka. right? It would
Or
just
scotch.
forget, just,
Uncle Victor loves scotch. And
ah.
we love Uncle Victor, but yeah, he likes a
Okay.
good scotch.
So we'll have to do scotch with conductors that night if we
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
that up. Okay, so this is fantastic. Thank you. So let's
Mhm.
start with, could you tell us a little bit about your musical background and what it was that kind of inspired you to sort of pursue conducting
Um,
when that may have happened? It might have been, an evolution, I know, but
yeah, I mean, I think, I grew up in Atlanta and I had the great opportunity to be influenced, inspired, conducted by Robert Shaw. And so I knew I wanted to be in music. And, at that age, even up through high school, you don't really understand what careers are. And so I didn't really understand that you could have a career in music. And then when someone told me that, I thought, okay, well, I'm singing, so I guess I will be a singer. So I went to Northwestern, go Cats,
go ahead.
go Cats, and studied voice. And I loved it. I loved Northwestern so much. All my teachers were just so caring, and they had high standards and all of that kind of stuff. And at some point, the solo work, I loved it, but it wasn't where I felt most at home. And so my voice teacher really made me understand that I wanted to be a conductor. And luckily I had some great conducting teachers there. I was able to take, the number of classes they have in Northwestern is unbelievable. So I was able to take, beginning conducting, and then I took all of the master's level conducting, and then I took them as independent studies, and then I took doctoral level conducting because they have all that there. And so I took every conducting class that was offered, and then I got my master's in conducting. So I think it was that concept that I've always liked, gathering people, for a bigger cause. And I do music, and I don't mind being the center of attention, so that works out well too.
Haha.
Hey, Peter.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Peter, if I could just jump in before we go a little bit further, I feel like it's important for us just to mention a couple things about our podcast, and just to mention that if anyone watching or checking in wants to text RPO to 42828, you can join our mailing list for event reminders. And a couple supporters I just want to quickly mention, just to speak to some of the people who've been supporting us for a number of years. Virginia Museum of History and Culture, thank you so much for several years of support to the Richmond Philharmonic. The Virginia Department of Veterans Services, thank you so much for your support over the years. Town Bank for 15 years of support.
Town Bank.
Vogue Flowers for over 30 years of support to the Richmond Philharmonic. Must just mention that while we're on here. Thank you so much for all of that.
Awesome. And I think
Amen.
I want to give a big shout out to Jen Myers, our vice president, who is doing all the amazing tech work tonight. And I think, am I right in saying that if that she will put a link in the comments section there on Facebook Live if people would like to donate, if you like what you're hearing and you want to hear more of this, you can do the donate link there. Is that right, Will?
I believe so. Yes, we're gonna get more details on that for sure. But yes, that will be sent out for sure. So that should be a link you can just click on, and it's already been posted.
Awesome. So, Erin, was Robert Harris still there when you were?
Oh yeah. Doc was like my other father. The story goes that when I got to Northwestern, I had sung in the Atlanta Symphony Chorus my senior year of high school, and I was the youngest person in it, and so that was a pretty big deal, I guess. And so I get to college, and I pretty much knew more about choral music than most people that were my fellow students. And so I thought that made me ready to be in the top chorus. So I auditioned for the top chorus, and I did not get in.
Ooh, the chorale.
Yeah. But that was okay. I sang in singers with Paul Oliopoulos, and had a great time. But then I found out that Doc was doing Bach B minor Mass, which was, you know, the piece that started me off on this journey. That's just one of my favorite pieces of music, to put it lightly. And so I walked into Doc's office, and when he tells this story, every time he tells this story, my Southern accent gets deeper and deeper. So the last time he told this story, he said, I walked in the office and said, Dr. Harris, you know, I just love Bach B minor Mass. Can I please sing it? Anyway, I don't think I sounded that bad, but I walked into his office and I said, this is the piece I've always wanted to sing. I will sight read any part of it for you right now. And he said, okay. So he got me a score, and I sight read. He just would list page after page, and so then from then I just got to learn from him. And you know, he is a great musician and a great teacher, and was able to, it just very caring as well. I mean, when I had a harpsichord problem from one of my recitals, he and this other faculty member just picked up a harpsichord, stuck it in a van, and drove it to another location. And you know, he was just, yeah, Doc was great to me.
Yeah, I have great memories with him too. And obviously I was just a violinist, but I took that choral conducting class that he offered to. I did all those whatever they were, C40, whatever they were at the time, and with and John Painter.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Painter's course.
Yeah.
That was frightening.
Oh my gosh. So his final exam, and I think it was the final exam in that conducting class every year, every quarter he did it, like the fall quarter, I think. And it was always l'histoire.
Yep.
Right. And
Nice.
so, and I was,
you get feedback.
before I took the class, I was concertmaster with, you know, under Victor. And so, but I was also in the marching band, right? Because my dad had been back in the day, was Painter's first assistant director. So, you know,
On the violin, Peter?
no, I was in the bass drum line. Thank you very much. Go
Yes, absolutely.
And so
Nicely done.
Yeah.
So Painter like called me because I was like the only violinist he knew. And so he was like, hey, I need you to come in and play this piece by Stravinsky, L'Histoire du Soldat. Do you know it? And I was like, no. And he was like, yeah, you'll be fine. Just sight read it. Right. So I come in there, and for 30 conductors, I now have to sight read Stravinsky, and I was completely and totally mortified. And on top of that, as you well know, he then had shot over this list of mistakes that I'm supposed to now play, like play this note instead of this note, play into rest.
Oh, wow.
So that the conductors could turn. So I can't even play the music as it is. Wrong already. And you want me to add more mistakes?
Yeah. You're like, can I just do different mistakes? Yeah. I just want to do I was going to do other mistakes. Yeah. No, I love that class. I learned so much in it.
I took the class the next year myself, but I practiced my butt off the entire summer. I had that thing memorized.
Yeah.
And then I played for like 29 of the 30 conductors, and then a violin came in just to play when I conducted. So that's funny. But anyway, funny little story there. So tell us about some of the big projects you have coming up.
Oh, everything is just so different, but we're doing things, we're making it work. We have, well, I just finished a big project over the summer with Wintergreen Music, where we designed a whole online community. So we did over 50 events online, where we had everything from music history classes to game shows to wine and music tastings, and all online. And it was, it was fun. I learned a lot about technology, and I learned a lot about our wonderful patron base, and how I've always said this about the Wintergreen patrons, and I think a lot of patrons for a lot of the organizations I'm with, that they're musically curious and musically geeky in the best possible way, and they demonstrated that, and they demonstrated their devotion to this art. I can't say enough about our patrons. And then our musicians, they came in and they recorded themselves and listened to them, and sent in their recordings. Our musicians were top-notch, fabulous, supportive, everything. So so anyway, I just finished that. And then coming up this year, my VCU students are putting together a sort of a film. It's like a concert film with about 28 different pieces that will be virtual choir type things. They won't all be floating heads in boxes, but they're interpretations of human adaptation as represented through music. So one group is tracing music from chant to present day, taking a journey through the world of the plagues. One group is studying how music of social justice has adapted. One group is tracing music from Africa through the slave trade up through American pop music. And so we're putting that together. Symphony Chorus, you know, it's our 50th anniversary and we can't meet. But we are meeting. We're meeting every Tuesday night. We're learning rep. We're putting together some recordings and videos. We're going to have a monthly feature on Mike Goldberg's show on VPM. Go Mike Goldberg. We love him, as all of the artists in Richmond love Mike Goldberg so much. Yeah. We're just doing some other projects that we'll be announcing in the next couple of weeks, including a great collaboration with many of the other choruses in town. So I'm looking forward to that. And then what else? Where else do I work? Oh, with Berkshire Choral International, which is it's choir experience for adults. So adults who want to have some incredible choir experience and go and sing in a wonderful hall with a great orchestra. I've conducted that several times. And so what I'm doing in November is a set of 3 classes on Beethoven's Missa Solemnis. So they'll sort of be interactive classes where people will sing part of it. And are you going to play the Benedictus? Yeah. Oh, there's Beethoven.
Just bringing him
Oh,
over.
wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So how many Beethoven busts are there? You have one too?
He's got the little Beethoven.
Hold on a second.
I'm gonna bring this over here. Look,
Everyone has a Beethoven in
move
their
him
room.
up into the. Here we go. There we
Yeah.
go. Well, you know, it is the big year.
No. It only matters if you have it still in the original package.
Oh,
Yeah.
see?
Okay.
So
fair
mine
enough.
is
We have
worth
the same
slightly
action
more.
figure.
I just have to
Yeah.
add that in. Thank you.
You're not supposed
Yeah.
to engage our guest, Will. Come on now.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I actually use mine. Okay.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. So those are, and then Wintergreen is we're going to be putting together a holiday extravaganza type thing with all of our musicians, giving our musicians a chance to have some work over the in the holiday season, and giving our patrons a chance to have some wonderful holiday music streamed to their homes. So we're going to be doing that.
Awesome.
Lovely. It might be a good time to ask a question from one of our viewers who wrote in. I believe it was Skip who wrote in.
Oh, hey, Skip.
Erin, do you ever sleep?
Oh,
Nice.
yes, I do sleep. I sleep every night.
Only when
Okay.
you're martinis.
Yeah, no, I believe strongly in sleep. I go to bed every night and I wake up the next morning. And sometimes I sleep better than others, but yeah, I sleep. You know, I get a lot done during the day because I'm organized and I have a great support system. So, you know, my husband takes care of a lot of stuff that I don't have to take care of in order to clear my way to get other stuff done. So
Wonderful.
shout out to Drew.
Hey, I think
Shout out to Drew.
I think we have a donor match challenge here. Jane.
Oh, sweet.
Jane Kaiser.
Jane.
Is putting up $500. If anybody can match $500 tonight, that would be great. So,
You know, oboe players always taking the lead. Oboists are the first ones you hear at a concert, you know? And so, you know, just like an oboist, she's setting the stage.
It makes sense. So you can donate directly on the Richmond Philharmonic webpage as well.
apparently there are people that are saying they wanted to see me in my marching band uniform, and I just know that I have my marching band uniform made into pillows. Look at that.
Oh.
Western.
Wow.
Eve.
You know, I tried to join marching band because I played a little bit of flute when I was growing up, and my voice teacher said no. And you know, I'm glad she did. Although, you know, to join the Northwestern marching band would have been something, but it was so cold. And as a singer, you know, your voice depends on you staying healthy. So there was no way I could have been out in that cold weather all the time
Yeah,
doing it,
but it was my way of getting out my aggression on that bass drum.
Yeah.
You know.
I did data num so I mean you know, a member of the marching
there you
band,
go.
so
See?
a couple. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
There's a surprising amount of synchronization that takes place in the marching bass drum line.
You know, in all honesty, you remember Don Owens, I'm sure, at Northwestern with the Contemporary Music Ensemble. And
Yeah.
with all of the percussion, you know, rudimentary, I mean, all the exercises that we had to do, the warm-ups and all of that stuff, I mean, it's so informed the rest of my playing. I mean, it was fun. It was a great outlet and everything. But I was so ready to do contemporary music ensemble once they had me doing that, because I could just read any rhythms and meters and stuff like that, because it was just so embedded in us through that whole drum line, because we had amazing drum line guys. So so I just, that, you know, I always tell students, just try to get in, you know, do as many different ensembles as possible, because they're all going to inform the others in, you know, in chorus, for example. So let's before we get to Will jumping in with some of the other questions, I wanted to ask you along those lines, what do you think that you've been able to bring from the choral world, because that's your base, that's where you came from and came into conducting that way, when you conduct orchestras? How does your choral background inform you on the podium as you're conducting orchestras, and I mean like non-choral music, obviously, right? Symphonies and
I mean, I think the two are related more than people have admitted that they are related. And I'll go back, you know, and for a while I was very nervous about admitting that I had a vocal background, although I play piano and, you know, I grew up attending the symphony and learning all those pieces very early on. But I go back to this story of when I was at Peabody getting my doctorate, and my graduate assistantship was to assist the orchestra. And for one of the concert cycles, Leon Fleischer was conducting.
Wow.
The great pianist. And so I was very nervous. And usually when people around Peabody said, you know, what is your instrument? I would say, well, piano, because that's an instrument. And, you know, I wouldn't say voice, I would say piano. Because when you say voice and you're getting an orchestral degree, people go, ooh, whoa, you know, and they think you don't know what you're doing. So yes, I had a prop, so I thought I'd use it. So I get into the elevator, the Tchaikovsky elevator at Peabody. We call it the Tchaikovsky elevator because Tchaikovsky wrote it at one point. And I get in the elevator with Mr. Fleischer, and he said, so you're my assistant this cycle? And I said, yes, I am. And he said, great. And what is your instrument? And I was not going to tell Leon Fleischer that I was a pianist. Because, you know, like, you just don't tell Leon Fleischer. I mean, you know, Emanuel Axe wouldn't tell Leon Fleischer that he's a pianist, much less me that got, you know, maybe some Beethoven piano sonatas. And so I sort of took a deep breath and I said, well, Mr. Fleischer, I'm a singer. And he said, oh, that is the perfect instrument for a conductor. And it changed my whole life, that conversation, because I realized that, you know, he said, because your musicianship is part of you. You don't have to rely on an external source for your musicianship. So you're counting your intervals, your ear, you know, you feel the music, you feel the vibrations because they are part of your body. And so you don't have anything between you and the music. And I remember just being in that elevator thinking, okay, I think my life just changed because of Leon Fleischer, rest his soul.
Yeah.
And
into what you didn't have to be shame, you know.
Yeah. And so from then on, I was a singer who was a multifaceted conductor. And so, you know, the things that are relevant between the two are the musicianship, articulation. They just you know, phrasing, all of that stuff is the same. They just manifest in different ways. So if you think of, for example, a pizzicato might actually be like a final consonant where you go t, and people are always like, well, you know, choir conductors, they have to give all those final cutoffs. No, I'm placing a consonant like I would place a pizzicato. Or, you know, the choir conductors always have to show the phrase as opposed to just, letting the musicians do what they want. And I'm like, first of all, singers are musicians, so can it,
Yeah.
But then second of all, you should show that line with an instrumental ensemble as well. Or, one of the things, and I know all my peeps who played in the RPO will remember this, that I would always say, breathe together.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And of course that comes from singing, but it's so applicable because you're not just breathing together to be together, you're breathing together to feel what the music is about to sound like. And so it's the same thing, whether you're doing chorus or orchestra.
Sure.
And then on the flip side, I'm often using orchestral references with my singers. So for example, if the singers are having trouble with distribution of breath in a phrase, I will have them bow their distribution of air so they can actually see.
Oh, wow.
See that, because I'll say, no, you are going, ha, and then you're left at the tip of the bow. And you have to strain to get that right. So you need to save at the beginning of that long note in order to make sure you have enough strength of air to make it through that entire long note.
Okay.
And so I have them physicalize that with their arms. So
Yeah.
I think there's stuff to be learned, but really it's louder, softer, faster, slower, higher, lower.
Right. Yeah, no, it's like, and in the same way, on the flip side, as a player in an orchestra, the worst thing is when you start getting people on the podium who aren't string players, for example, who start telling you about, maybe you guys should play that at the tip, or maybe you should do it here. And what we're thinking of as professionals is just tell us what you want to hear and we'll take care of, the technique that's involved, right? Do you want to hear it, as you said, louder, softer, harder, shorter, more articulation here, whatever. And because everybody actually, even on the professional level, everybody has their different approach to their instrument. So if you start actually into the technique of where in the bow to play, you might actually do yourself a disservice because some people might be stronger in this part of the bow than that part of the bow. And just tell us what you want to hear and we'll take care of the rest, it's that kind of.
But it's also, first of all, it's a lost opportunity. So even if you are a violinist conductor, you don't want to micromanage the way the violinists play in a pro ensemble or elsewhere, because you're missing out on what they're bringing to the table, and what they bring to the table, they bring through their technique.
Right.
And then the second thing is, by micromanaging, you are abdicating your own responsibility as a conductor. So, your responsibility as a conductor is no more important than their responsibility as a player. It's just a different kind of responsibility. You are supposed to have the big picture. You are supposed to say, does their articulation match that articulation and match the vision for the phrasing of the piece? Not, are they playing it this way? Then
right.
Exactly how I would have played it. That doesn't help. That means you're not doing the big picture job. And if they're like, oh no, that phrase should be blah, 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 then they're not doing their job, because they're trying to hear the big picture. So everyone's job is just as important as anyone else's. So
wonderful.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's go to the phones, shall we?
The phones are great. I think so far we've been blowing some minds, especially Erin, your story of Leon Fleischer apparently is resonating.
Resonating.
Yeah.
That's a great story. I love that.
Amazing. Amazing story, amazing message. For me, I will definitely take a lot from that going forward in my conducting as well. There are so many great questions that have come in. Patricia Jump, longtime listener of the episodes. She was on last week and is asking questions this week. I think she's had some really great ones.
From the very beginning.
Longtime listener, Patricia Jump, mother of Jen, our technical wizard, making all of this happen. A couple of great questions. I think they're interesting. First one: how have your challenges changed or evolved since you began your career?
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's not too easy.
That's a hard one. How have my challenges evolved? Yeah, I mean, as much as they have evolved, they've stayed the same. I think the challenge that you overcome, that one overcomes when they get better at their job, is knowing, it's being able to anticipate what might happen. So, you know, to really look at a musical score and say, I know this is going to happen, or I know this is going to happen. I know that this chord's going to be out of tune. I know that, you know, this section is not going to be together. And outside of the rehearsal process, you know, knowing, I know that when I teach this class, you know, this is going to happen. These folks are going to have trouble with the schedule. These people are going to not understand how to do this and that. And to have the confidence to be able to predict what's going to happen. I think that is one thing. But then the other thing is to understand. I think the main thing that has evolved is that I am realizing more and more what the purpose of this art form is. You know, I think when you're young and you're beginning, you're trying to be perfect. And that actually keeps you from being part of the art itself. But so by releasing that expectation of perfection and going towards perfecting, then you can find the art in that. There is no art in perfection, but there's a whole lot in perfecting. And I think as you progress in your career, you're able to sort the differences between those two out.
Yeah.
And that that is something I've gotten better at. What'd you say, Peter?
Well, sort of picking your battles. No, I know what you mean. So because I still focus, I find myself focusing constantly on technique. And I try to step outside that and try to be expressive. You know, I've always had this, like, people are like, okay, well, you're very clear. And it's like, well, but I still feel like I haven't achieved that yet. You know, I want to be like super clear. But at the same time, we have that dual thing. We have to be clear. People have to know what we're trying to express with our hands. But at the same time, it also, you know, we also have to be expressive. I mean, it's like, I look at when I'm critiquing like old great conductors, and I look at somebody like Schulte, who was revered, and he had and people played amazingly under him, and I watch him and I'm like, how can they even what? I can't find a thing there to, you know. And I talked to people that played under him, you know, because he, of course, was also one of these guys that was way in front of the beat, right? He was always, you know, and so that's a whole other issue, right? But they're like, you know, no, just don't follow that. Just go with what he's trying to express, and just play with the guys in your section, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I you know, I struggle with that. You know, trying to make sure that I'm being as expressive as I can. You know, within the confines of not at the expense of technique or whatever, but
well, and you know, what a good lesson to learn and to keep in mind as you're living through this time period. You know, I mean, I think about my rehearsals that I have over Zoom, or my students who I have half of a section in person and the other half of a section on Zoom, and then Zoom's going in and out. Today was a nightmare with Zoom. I love you, Zoom, but you know, today was difficult, and you know, you have to move after a half an hour, and so there's just no way to be perfect, and I can't hear them through their masks, and they can't create the correct vowel through their masks, and so I just have to say, okay, what are we going to learn here? We're going to get something out of this semester of experience, and I want them to learn something about music, and I want them to learn something about conquering fear and overcoming things. I want them to learn about phrasing a little bit. I want them to learn, you know, sing in some languages, how music can be used to make a social impact. And then, you know, if at the very least they get to see a professor trying really hard and pivoting when she needs to, and being as, you know, as thoughtful as she can to do whatever she can, then they've learned something.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't, I will have to drink too many of these martinis if I try to think, okay, I have to have every tea in place. And I love having my T's in place. You know, I love having my consonants all perfectly placed, like my pizzicati. I like them all at the same time. But I have to release that perfection, or we're not gonna get anything out of it. If I just try to go for the perfection, everyone's gonna be miserable and they're not gonna learn a thing. And I see that Lynn and Durwood say hello, so hi.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So
Look at
anyway,
that.
I just had to say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
thank
and
you.
you're right, and I think, I mean, what's going for us is the fact that the entire planet is dealing with this too, right? I mean, it kind of all are off. All, you know, teachers of all levels, whether it's music or not, are having to deal with the whole Zoom, you know, online teaching, and it's like, you know, you're like rewriting the book. I mean, it's, you know, it's,
Yeah, but I feel so thankful to be working for organizations that are supporting the concept of pivoting and trying new things and making mistakes and not being perfect. And I feel like some of the larger organizations don't have that advantage. And we've always thought that larger organizations have the advantage to do whatever they want. You know, they can broadcast in movie theaters, they can do this and they can do that. But I think we're finding that the smaller organizations that, you know, we have tended to downplay the importance of are actually the ones that are keeping things going. Look what you guys are doing. You know, you guys are finding something cool, you know, to do to support the RPO and to keep people geeking out about music. And you know, all the organizations for whom I work are doing the same thing. And I feel grateful for the creativity of those leaders of the small to middle-size organizations.
well, we'd love having you here. Once again, let's say that we'll put that link up. If you like what you're hearing, please donate. We have Jane Kaiser with a $500
Awesome.
matching that she's donated. If everybody's going to match that, and Will, let's go on to
yeah. Oh, can I just say something though? Just
Yeah.
speaking, I mean, you were talking about donating, and you know, donating to an organization like RPO is really important. And I think that, you know, what an organization like RPO does, and what RPO specifically does, is brings another layer of music to a community that is so important. And that is that ability for people to express themselves through music, you know, even if they aren't in a professional orchestra, because musicians, amateur, and I use amateur in the correct way, those who do it for the love of it, are the lifeblood of a musical community. You know, they play, they attend, they really make sure that kids learn music. And I cannot say enough about organizations that support the opportunities for amateur musicians, or, you know, semi-pros or pros who aren't doing it elsewhere. You know, like these organizations are so important. So I just want to say I'm so thankful for everything that RPO does for the community, and everything that RPO did for me.
Here wonderful. It was my first music director job of an orchestra, and I mean, what RPO did for me, I cannot thank enough. So.
And I think hopefully with our time left, we have a chance to get in a few more questions here. I think Tony has asked a really good one. He said, and I think this is interesting because I know you have conducted so many pieces, Erin. His question is there a piece you've always wanted to conduct, but haven't had the chance to program yet? And I think the way he phrased it maybe is,
I think
I'd be interested to hear what your response is.
Just for a minute.
Oh, hello? Oh, no problem. Can you hear me now?
Fine. I got you back here. So,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there are a lot of pieces that I would love to do. And I'm speaking very pointedly to all the organizations for whom I work. I would love to do Bach B minor Mass, Verdi Requiem.
Wow.
I would also love to do Firebird. You know who's listening? I would love, Firebird. I mean, like, I've conducted Firebird before, but Firebird with the ballet.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to do that. Rite of Spring, I would love to do with the ballet. I would love to do Rite of Spring, you know, just in general. I haven't conducted Rite of Spring yet. but I would say B minor Mass, Verdi Requiem, any of the Stravinsky ballets.
Yeah.
I've done Petrushka before, and I've done Firebird, but not with any theatrical element.
Have you done Les Noces before?
But I love Les Noces. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the pieces I found after I had learned all the big ones by Stravinsky, I uncovered Les Noces and I realized it's one of those pieces that you don't actually come across very often in the standard studying of 20th century music, but I found it to be hauntingly beautiful, and the choreography as well. It's a really incredible late Stravinsky work to check out. I thought it was just amazing.
Erin, is there any particular, I've never conducted ballet per se. I mean, we did last season, we did a collaboration with the Latin Ballet of Virginia, and they were, they basically got some recordings of our rehearsals, and then they choreographed it, and they were just, doing their thing behind us. So it wasn't like we really rehearsed with them, except when we got to sort of the dress rehearsal thing. But have you found, with with Richmond Ballet, as I would imagine you're like deep in the weeds with the whole planning of all of that. What aspects are different between that and orchestral conducting, or even choral conducting, or whatever? Have you found any like challenges or anything that's specific to that?
Challenging. I mean, ballet conducting is one of the most fulfilling and challenging things I've ever done, and all I want to do is more of it. It's so inspiring to see the physicalization of music. And I think the thing that I've learned about it, I mean, I've learned a lot, and there's so much, that's a whole other hour to talk about all the ways that working with ballet can help you be a better conductor. But one of the ways, one of the things I learned is that dancers are, right? I mean, it's not really a joke, but no conductor in their right mind understands how a ballet dancer counts. There are moments in Nutcracker where they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, and you're like, no, it's just 4, and then 4 again, and 4 again, and then also 4, and then 4 many, many more times. And so that's really jarring.
Do they tell you why they're counting in those sequences?
You asked, yeah, and then once you watch, you realize. And the thing about it is that they are right. They are 100% right, and we as conductors are 100% wrong, because they count how the music progresses, and their motions relate to how the music progresses, and how it ebbs forward and then comes back, and then has different colors. And so they are really listening, and we're thinking floor, door, window, ceiling, here comes the violin, bam, da, 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 and they're thinking, how do I develop from this thing to the next thing, and how, it's, and so they're totally right.
Yeah. It's like taking the bar lines out of the music. You're essentially, if composers were able to do that back in the day, they probably would have, right? Because they would have written whatever the line was doing, and we get so hell bent on following the bar lines and the meter and everything that we lose sight of the musical phrase. I get it. That makes sense.
Wow.
To help us organize them to make the music more complex. I mean, if you think about chant, that chant didn't have bar lines. The late medieval, early Renaissance style music didn't have bar lines, and we had to add them as music got more and more complex, because we needed an organizational system by which we could account for everybody and keep everybody together. And so, but that organizational system has turned into, it's also developed from a sort of sense of strong beats and weak beats, and music theory geek out session here, and I know I don't have time for that, but it has done us a great service in that it has allowed our our creativity to be sparked, but it's also something that we have to remember to release ourselves from.
Right. The walls.
Wow.
Tear down the walls. Oh my
Wow,
goodness. This has been just so illuminating, Erin. Thank you for coming on. We can't thank you enough. I know that the comments are coming in. Everybody's just all excited. Oh, conductors are wrong. What? Yes.
Impossible.
Yes, but not with cocktails. Always right with a cocktail. Okay.
Yes.
So we have 3 minutes left. Want to make sure that we thank our donors. Did we match the 500? Do we know? Were we able to do a match?
We're not sure yet because I think something happened with the link, but I know people are donating
Okay.
from the website.
Okay.
So we'll find out a
We'll
little
tell
bit
you
later.
later, they're saying. So keep the donations coming in. Please click the link.
Thank you to Jane again.
If we
Sure.
didn't get to your questions tonight, not to worry. We continue to collect these questions. In 2 weeks, we're coming back, and Will and I will try to, clean up. We will try to cover. We will try to cover all the areas, and if there are questions that we can ask Erin in between now and then, that she can answer, we can relay those. Erin, did you have any final thoughts you wanted to get in here before we have to close? I mean, thanks again so much.
So
Uh-oh.
glad to be here.
Here we go.
It's fun to geek out with you guys. It's really nice okay, conductors are siloed people. We don't like to talk to each other. We don't like to learn from each other. We sort of have this, I've got to get my job done. And I've got to prove that I'm the best conductor in the room, in the whole wide room, and the thing about this pandemic, and again, I don't want this, I would never wish this pandemic on anyone, but it has forced us to get over ourselves, and it has created a platform for us to do things like this and to hang out and be geeky. And, I had a meeting last week with several conductors, and it was the first time since I've moved here where all the conductors of this certain group of ensembles had met up. And I'm like, that is horrifying.
Right.
It is horrifying. And so I'm just so thankful that with me, and I appreciate the opportunity to geek right back at you.
Back at you. Love it. Okay. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Please tune in 2 weeks at 7 o'clock on Monday. Oh dear, what's the date going to be?
Ooh,
October. Help us out, Jen.
I know we're about to be muted,
October
but I just want
19th.
to say thanks and hi to everyone who is listening. Like, I know there are people from all my various organizations, and especially all my old RPO people. I think about you all the time, and I'm just so thankful that you're still playing music. So anyway, sorry to say that.
Nope.
Sorry to interrupt you. And it's October 19th is the
October
next
19th,
Monday.
episode 3. Come and join us. And everybody give a
Cheers.
big, loud thank you to Erin Freeman. Thank you so much. Woohoo!
signing off.
Signing off. Take care.